What's up, everyone? It's Wacko. Welcome you to Sacred Dwarf Swine Season 12 PRs. Um, I'm not joined by anyone this time, unfortunately. I think usually I have a co-host, and I've probably had one since, like... I've probably had one, like, every season. Just this season, I decided not to. Actually, I did not have one last season. But I think literally every other season I've had one. So, yeah, unfortunate, but we roll. And I have to get this video under like 80 minutes because I have therapy in about 80 minutes. So hopefully I don't take too much time. Before we get started, I'm actually gonna scroll down and open this slide first. So I'll give you guys my overall thoughts. I cannot believe how many people went for weather and terrain this season despite Weather Rocks and Terrain Extender being banned. I believe we have a sand team. I think we almost had two sand teams. We have two rain teams and electric terrain. And we also have, I think, two sun teams. Or at least sun modes. Most of them are just modes, but like still, like, they have like sun cores, rain cores, terrain, electric terrain. Can't think of anything else. I guess technically we have like grassy terrain, but like terrain in that instance is like you only need it for like a turn. But yeah, I think everyone drafted really well. The top of the board barely had any scraps left. Like, I think we left like what, Mega Mawile, we left Mega Medicham on the board. Those are like the top mons I think we left on the board. Like, everything 17 points and upwards got picked, and that makes me feel good because it makes me feel like I made a good draft board where like everything seemed worth it to a certain extent. And like even those like 16, 15 pointers, like I thought about every single one of them at some point probably. Mega Mawile, Mega Medicham especially, like I've considered those on my draft for like quite a bit. I think most every team found some decent value because I made the draft board a lot cheaper. And I think everyone was able to build really cohesive cores, either offensively, defensively, or both. And considering everyone drafted pretty well, this was one of the hardest PRs I've had to make. And I'm not entirely sure I'm confident in saying like this would be my final ranking if I took more and more time to look at it. Because I think before I started recording, or at least last night when I was like ranking these, I was like, geez, do I think this team is really better than this one? Or so on and so forth. So I would say overall, like, this is a really close ranking. So yeah, I just want to go through that before I got started. Because I know, like, if you get last place, it doesn't mean that I think your team sucks. It just means, like, hey, you kind of, like, your team was just a little bit worse than everyone else's, basically. And that's kind of just how I feel. So yeah, everyone did a good job. PRs don't even matter anyways. I've won a chip getting, like, 12th or 13th in PRs. I had a Pulp team, too, but I got, like, 13th in PRs because they're like, oh, your special breaker is Volcarona, and, like, blah, 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 and, like, you know, it doesn't really matter. I still want a chip, so even if you get last place, and I think, like, Season 3, we had a last place contender get the chip. Or I think last place in PRs got a chip. I think the reason I put them in last is because they had, like, Weavile and Scizor with Tapu Lele, and I was like, what the fuck are you doing? So, yeah. First up, we have the Seattle Lucarios, coached by La TD. Supposed to be a dot there. I gave him an overall score of 60. Oh, before I talk about this team, I've kind of defaced at least one Pokemon on every team, and then you'll see by the Scizor that I have a little goat. That's basically just trying to signify what Pokemon I think is my favorite on everyone's team, or maybe even like what I think will perform the best. And to be honest, I don't really like all of the mons in this team. I'm starting to like Tapu Lele, but I still can't forget that I used to call it Tapu Balanced for like 3 years. And I will continue to call it as such. But I love Scizor, so Scizor is going to be my GOAT of the team. But yeah, so we have Darkrai, Manaphy, Milotic, Scizor, Latias, Tapu Lele, Mega Charizard Y, Comfey, Flygon, and Fletchinder. So this is one of those teams that I have mentioned having like a Sun core, and it doesn't really look like it, but when you look into like the move pools further, you'll find that Comfey gets growth, and growth in the Sun gives you +2 instead of +1 in the Sun. So that's kind of my thought there, is that Zard Y and Comfey kind of pair decently well together. Other than that, though, there's kind of some anti-synergy. We have Scizor and Tapu Lele together. I don't really like that because Scizor, you'll try to click Bullet Punch and then realize, oh, I can't click Bullet Punch because terrain is up. And that kind of sucks. Although I am wondering though if Scizor's holding like Air Balloon. No, I don't think that's how that works. If Scizor's holding Air Balloon, can you Bullet Punch in the terrain? Because you're not on the ground? I don't know. The trains work like so weirdly. Like I just don't understand them. But yeah, and another reason why this team ranks low, you got one Stealth Rocker, just Flygon, and that's it. Like, I don't even think most people will bother running, like, boots against this team. Like, Flygon is just not... I think Flygon is a decent rocker, and it's kind of funny that Flygon didn't get rocks until Gen 9, which is weird because why wouldn't it get rocks before, but, you know. So you have that. You have round 2 and round 3 Manaphy and Milotic. That was really questionable. I think, like... they overall do like really, I wouldn't say similar things, but if Manaphy's not clicking Tail Glow, I think Manaphy's a pretty decent support mon with like Flip Turn and like Toxic, and I think that's basically what Milotic does. Milotic does get Haze, and I should have put phasing on the important moves, probably over Sticky Web, because let's be honest, everyone knows a Sticky Webber when they see it, so yeah, but I didn't really understand Manaphy Milotic. I think they were drafted pretty early, too. I think Manaphy's kind of fallen off. If it was Gen 8, I would say Manaphy's fine for round 2. I've never really understood the hype behind Manaphy, personally. I think Latias is kind of eh. But it's a decent support mon on a team that is pretty offensive, so I don't really mind it here. And yeah, other than that, there is no electric or grass type, and there's also no ice type with yeah, there's no ice type at all. So, because the reason I say ice is because freeze dry. So we don't really have a proper water killer, and you're basically using Charizard to like solar beam the waters. Maybe it's not the worst thing in the world because you have Charizard with like the sun to kind of deter waters from coming, but I mean, like, overall, waters can just kind of sit there on, like, quite a few things. Like, even Scizor kind of struggles to break through some waters. It can U-turn on them, but if it's U-turning, then it's switching out. And then what? So you're gonna have to find, like, makeshift grass coverage. Probably on, like, Comfey. Comfey is probably gonna be, like, the water breaker. Manaphy, like, Tail Glow Energy Ball, maybe. Kind of wish this team had, like, an electric type. Maybe over like Latias and Milotic. Fletchinder makes no sense. I feel like Fletchinder used to be one of those NFEs that was like 2 points at one point, but no one ever picked it, so I don't really know what it does, but I mean, hey, if you like Fletchinder, good for you. Next up we have Cryptix with the Zoink Zangoose. We got the Terra Zangoose. Oh yeah, I'll talk about Terras, but obviously Terra Comfey on this team. We have Terra Zangoose, Gliscor, Weavile, Blacephalon, Starmie, Mega Aggron, Electivire, Togekiss, Weezing, Araquanid, and Terra Breloom. This team, like, after round 1 Zangoose, I feel like he came back pretty well. Some of these mons are a little bit squishy, like these top 5 are like, well, Gliscor's not squishy, but on the special side, like it kind of squishy on the special side, but like he really came back. I really like this like Weavile, Gliscor, Starmie core, and I like the Starmie core with Aggron and Togekiss. That makes for a really good wall core. And in some matchups where like Starmie's not a bulky mon, you can use Araquanid, you can use Weezing, and Weezing, I like Weezing on this team too, as some of these mons, like Blacephalon, Aggron, Electivire, like they're kind of ground weak. So having like a Levitate poison type is fine. You can also run Gas though, like you're not weak to ground. Araquanid's decent. I like Araquanid as a bulky water. I'm using one currently, and I actually use it as my Terra Captain, but I told him to run Terra Breloom. I think Terra Breloom will be a lot more fun for him. Araquanid's fun though too. So if you ever want to switch his Terra Captains, like I would be completely fine if it was Araquanid. That was the funny thing though, is he had quite a few mons on this team that make for great Terra Captains. Obviously he's going to use one on Zangoose, but he had Florges. I think Florges would have been a good Terra Captain. Starmie would have been a good Terra Captain, because Starmie kind of lacks that damage sometimes, but Terra would have helped it either kill things with coverage, or I would say like a Terra Stellar Starmie would have been decent. Araquanid just wrecks things with Terra Water. Breloom can get rid of that awful typing, or it can boost like Mach Punch. I don't think Priority is Terra boosted, because if you Terrasilize, anything below 60 base power usually gets boosted to 60 base power. So the reason why people would use like Terra Pikachu is because you can use like Terra Electric Nuzzle for like 60 base power, and that's kind of funny. I don't think Mach Punch is boosted. If it is boosted by Terra Fighting to 60 base power, plus Technician, plus Stab, and Terra, like that's gonna hit super hard. I don't know if that's exactly the case though, because I think people would be using it. But yeah. What else can I say about this team? I should probably start going a little bit faster. Removal's okay. Togekiss usually can slot it. Starmie can usually spin. I love Starmie. I just love Starmie, dude. Natural Cure is awesome. Like it can spin. It can take a T-Wave or a Toxic, and just switch out with Natural Cure. I think Illuminate actually does something now, but I don't think it does much for Starmie. Analytic is decent if you force swaps, but I would overall say like Natural Cure Starmie is just like the best Starmie. Flip turn support. I use Starmie with Mega Aggron specifically, so like they make a good core. Togekiss makes a good core with them. I like it. And the fact that this didn't get last despite not using 8 whole points, crazy. He used a lot of low tiers, but I think these low tiers are actually good. Electivire is really bad. I'll admit, Electivire is really bad, but it's an electric type that has that like coverage to just hit everything. It's one of the rare electric types that gets Ice Punch, or just ice coverage in general, so I like it. It can even run special, like it's not that bad. Not that bad. It's bad, but not that bad. Next up we have Toadate and the Pawmot pushovers. How we're doing on time? I got like an hour-ish. I guess I can come back if I have to, but it'll look weird spliced probably. So yeah, we have the Great Tusk, Mega Altaria, Volcanion, Zeraora, Ogerpon, Jirachi, Torkoal, Crobat, Frostlass, Slitherwing, and its Terra on the Volcanion. Now, I was kind of helping Toadate with this team, and I feel really bad because I didn't catch it. Probably because they use like a different prep thing, and I might link in the description. It's like a website that you use instead of a Google Doc, and I think Google Docs kinda sucks sometimes, so I understand using a different website, but it also analyzes replays, and I think it's really good at doing so. It even shows stats, like the percentages you've done to things, or like how much damage it took. So it's really cool, and it might help in the future with SDS if I ever decide to track further stats like damage done, damage dealt, blah blah So yeah. So the reason why this team places a little bit low is that there's no dark type and there's no normal type. I think there might have been a dark type on this team at some point. I'm trying to think. Because I actually don't know. I don't remember. I know that there was like a Mega Mawile and there was like a Golbango at some point. By the way, no one ever picked up Golbango. So I'm kind of surprised that it's just on the board. But yeah, not having a dark or normal type is really bad because those are the only two types that can resist normal. Or not normal, ghost. And if you don't have a ghost resist, you kind of just lose. Like, Spectre is just gonna win. And there's not much you can do outside of, like, Scarf, but you could probably just Scarf Spectre at some point and just kind of win. If you can get it in on something that'll die to Shadow Ball, like Frostlass, like you can just kind of click Shadow Ball and then something doesn't take 2 hits and then Spectre just wins. So that kind of sucks. You might have to Terra Dark or like Terra Normal with a Volcanion. That's the good thing with Terra, that you don't want to like force Volcanion into a specific role. That's just kind of bad. Even the only Psychic resist is Jirachi. Psychic isn't like the worst typing to be weak to because I think a lot of Psychic types suck, but again, because you don't have a Dark type, if there's a Pokemon that can just kind of like Iron Defense Calm Mind into stored power, like you can just kind of win. Something like Glowking can do that. You do have Great Tusk, which kind of threatens Glowking like a little bit too much probably, but it could probably just like Iron Defense into stored power and like kind of kill you and then switch out regen and then set up again later. Something like that. But we do have that Sun Core. I like Tusk. I like Slitherwing. You probably didn't need both of them because I think they're kind of similar. Slitherwing does get First Impression though, which helps for some of the dark types. But you have Tusk. Like Tusk beats like Roaring Moon, stuff like that. So you don't need Slitherwing. I like it, but you probably didn't need it on this team. You should probably get. I'd recommend getting a dark type. Maybe you can make it like Brute Bonnet, and you can change Ogerpon to Cornerstone, so you keep that ground resist. I guess you keep that ground resist with Brute Bonnet. I think Brute Bonnet's underrated. You could maybe Terra Brute Bonnet if you don't want to Terra Volcanion as well. I don't know. I mean, I'm just kind of talking out my ass. Next up, we have Shine's team. We have Mega Gallade, Gouging Fire, Ting-Lu, Terra Blastoise, Glimmora, Skarmory, Shaman, Mimikyu, Swellow, Illumise, and Vulpix. I had to put my goat on the Illumise for history. Not that I've used Illumise like super well in the past, but I know quite a few people that are fans of Illumise. I like Illumise. This team mostly placed low because it has a lot of the same roles on a lot of the mons here. Notably Ting-Lu, Glimmora, and Skarmory. And I said this quite a bit in Whacker's Thoughts in SDS. Like, they just kind of spike, stealth rock, die. And the fact that all 3 of them here, like, these are like the big 3 mons that do that. But I guess the fact that you have all 3 of them, like, you could maybe promote Ting-Lu to like Choice Band or like offensive sets. I like offensive Ting-Lu. It's one of those dark types that gets like Heavy Slam for those fairy types, and a lot of fairy types are really light. So Ting-Lu gets that 120 base power Heavy Slam. Or is it 150? I think it's 120. I think I'm thinking of Gyro Ball. I think Gyro Ball caps at 150. So you can do that with Ting-Lu. Skarmory could run some offensive sets with like Swords Dance Weak Armor or something like that. I'm assuming you have all 3 of them because it allows you to pick 3, and then you can kind of hazard stack for Mega Gallade or Gouging Fire. I don't think Mega Gallade really needs like hazard stack to help it like get KOs. Like, I feel like it can just kind of kill things on its own. I guess it kind of helps Gouging Fire a little bit. But I think the fact that they're so, like, Glimmer is not passive, but Tinglu and Skarmory are a little bit more passive. Like, you can just kind of spin on them anyways, or, like, remove. Mimikyu's a spin blocker, is alright. It gets that free, like, move off every time because of Disguise, so, like, it kind of works. It's fine. Blastoise is a pretty good Terra, but I would say it's a little bit of a bait. Most people run Mirror Herb against it because they'll expect it to be Shell Smash, and like Blastoise doesn't really do anything outside of Shell Smash. Like, it's a Bulkymon that flip turns, and if you're using that as your Terra, like, I guess that's kind of a waste. But I think Blastoise is okay. Just be prepared for Mirror Herbs, which you could maybe like bait some Mirror Herbs with like Agility or SD Gallade or like Dragon Dance Gouge, maybe SD Mimikyu, SD Shaman. You could do that, I suppose, or I was gonna say Mortal Spin Glamora, but I was thinking Rapid Spin, which it doesn't get. Yeah, it's a little bit. I think Shaman would have been a better Terra or Swellow. Terra normal Swellow just kind of smashes buttons. And you have a lot of mons that kind of bait steals into not even coming. So like if you wanted to normal Boom Burst, like you could probably get away with it because you have Rock and Steel killers right here. Swellow can hit through Ghost anyway. So I would say like you should change the Terra to Swellow or Shaman. Shaman's just kind of a healing wish bot, but I think it's fine. But I think overall, because of like the weird roles on this team, I have to kind of place it low. Next up we have Hysterically. I originally had this team like a little bit higher, but the more I looked at it, I was like, eh. And it looks like a team that I would have drafted. Torn, Slowking, Ursaluna, Diancie. I had to put the GOAT between Slowking and Ursaluna. Like, Heister, he made it hard for me. Like, this is a love letter to me, this whole team. My first chip was one with Marowak and Torn. Mega Manectric was the first Mega I've ever drafted. I think Galarian Moltres is one of the best designed Pokemon of all time. Archelodon kind of intrigues me quite a bit. Diancie is probably my favorite Pokemon of all time, currently. And I think Venomoth is like an underrated gem of Gen 1. Floatzel, I like Floatzel. Floatzel is like the one mon on this team that I'm like, eh. Maybe Politoed as well, but yeah, this team was like a love letter to me. I almost made a joke here saying like, oh, look, it's my team. But no, it's just a love letter to me, and I think P. McGee as well, the Archelodon Politoed, or Archelodon Floatzel, more like. But anyways, I guess talking more about the team. No grass, no fighting. Could have been a little bit more daring and more favorable towards me by drafting Chestnut, huh? I won't mark points for that. Could have been like Chestnut over Venomoth though, if you wanted to. This team's fine. It's just kind of like I don't really like Rain against an Ursaluna and Diancie. Making them like weaker to water when they can both take a water hit fine, but in the rain, like, they're just gonna die now. So you're kind of forced to swap, and I would say like rain doesn't really help you as much as it would help someone else, because someone else can just kind of come through with their water and like spam buttons against you, and like I guess you have Archelodon, but then Archelodon's getting chipped on purpose, and I don't know. I guess it's just weird. Like, I just don't think weather is worth it in SDS because you can't run the rocks. And I guess maybe I could have allowed rocks, but P. McGee ruined that for everybody. I don't know. And Floatzel, I think Floatzel could have been better as well. I'm personally like a fan of Basque Legion. I don't know, there's just a lot going on with this team. You also have Trick Room with like Slowking, Marowak. I don't even think Slowking is like that good of a Trick Room setter. So trying to set up Trick Room for Marowak and Ursaluna is just kind of like, I don't really like that. I think Deoxy's defense is a lot better at setting up Trick Room, if you're going to go with that. But I understand Slowking and Torn on this team. They support each other very well. They can pivot back and forth, and you just kind of, you get more consistent that way. Why am I getting messaged by DoorDash? I don't care. I'm kind of losing my train of thought, so I think I'll just move on. I have some notes, so if anyone ever wants to see those, they can. Next up, we have Sagex. This is one of those teams I was like, oh, I'm pretty scared of this team when we were drafting, but now I kind of look at it and I'm like, it's just fine. We have the Shaman Sky, Terapagos, Latios, Pechacunt, Sylveon, Rotom Heat, Swampert, Ferrothorn, Persian Alola, and Volbeat. So the reason why this place is a little bit lower, these top 6 are like all special attackers. So if you have like a special wall with just like Covert Cloak, you can just kind of sit there on like a couple of them, and you can probably 1v1 like a couple of them. Or even just like, I don't know. You'll find like a Covert Cloak Mon or like an Assault Vester that can just kind of handle them. Swampert is like the physical attacker on this team, which is kind of funny. I think Terra Swampert could be legit. I believe it gets Aqua Jet, right? And you can like Torrent, Terra Water, Aqua Jet. Maybe that like does a lot of damage. I think Swampert overall can do like a lot of damage. Just kind of depends. I respect the Alolan Persian. I have not seen that thing picked up in a long time. Probably since Gen 8, and Alolan Persian used to be like a 7-point Mon. I don't really know why, because like its best stat is speed. Defense is alright with Fur Coat, but like it doesn't have like anything else. Like it's just kind of a support Mon that isn't like super good at doing damage. Like it's not like Tinkaton. Like of course it's faster than Tinkaton, but it's like it's not really doing much. I like Volbeat. I like that we have Volbeat and Illumise drafted. That's kind of cool. But yeah, my overall gripe with this team is that it's a little bit too special. And there's no fighting type, so I guess maybe that's why there's like no fighting, no rock. Rock is not an important typing to have, but you know. But I've seen teams with like Sylveon, Rotom Heat, Swampert as like defensive cores and Pecharunt, and like they do fine damage. They're just not like scary. And if they're doing damage, then they're not bulky, or like they're not running as much bulk. So like they just kind of, you just have to like pick, and sometimes it's hard to pick. But I think the team overall leaned a little bit too much on like the bulky defense. Like I don't even know how to describe like Pecharunt through Ferrothorn like that. Like these Mons all together, I don't even know how to describe them. But I think if you had like a breaker, like a physical breaker in here, that would have been really good. I don't really know how you like slot that. Maybe you switch Rotom Heat or like, I don't know. I don't really know what you switch here. Or you could switch like somewhere, something in the top 3, like Latios for like a physical Mon. Like, honestly, if you got like Mega Medicham here, I think that would be better. I think Mega Medicham makes more sense than Latios on this team. I don't mind Latios though, so I won't complain too much, but that's kind of why it goes a little bit low. What else? Removals, Rotom Heat, Terapagos are decent removal. You don't really want to use Terapagos as your removal. It's fine, but if you're trying to sweep with it, then you don't really want to use it as removal. Rotom Heat is fine. Volbeat and Latios don't really count. That's my thought. 2 flip turners, good. Next up we have John Paul, which actually I think tied with Sagex, yeah. We do have a couple ties here. It's just kind of hard for me to like place certain things. So on this team we have the Mega Latios, Urshifu Single Strike, Heatran, Kleavor, Terra Kill, Wattrel, and Terra Floa Eternal. Ursaluna Blood Moon, Ogerpon Wellspring, Tentacruel, Kecleon, and Thwackey. I put the GOAT on Float Eternal. Just a cool mon. Like, you don't really see this get picked up because I think most leagues kind of forget that they could allow it and they just choose not to allow it. Um, but it's fine. I like Float Eternal. This is just one of those teams where I feel like we picked up some of the bait mons. Mega Latios is definitely a big bait mon. And I think overall, like, it performs worse than just normal Latios. Like on paper, it should perform worse than Latios. Because Latios can hold items. If you could just hold a Soldu, you're basically, I think you're technically stronger than Mega Latios with just a Soldu. Not to mention you could run Life Orbs, you can boost other moves, or like Expert Belt, Specs, Scarf. Like, you can just do a lot more with normal Latios. Urshifu, I think, is fine as a second round pick. Used to be like one of those top 2 mons in the meta. Like, it was Polt Urshifu. Urshifu kind of fell off because I think it's a little bit slow. Again, like that 97, 98 speed tier, because I think Hydreigon kind of falls similarly. Like, it's a little bit too slow for the meta now. Shifu's kind of forced to like Scarf usually now. But you can do that with Cleaver on this team, and I kind of like that. Heatran kind of covers a lot of the weaknesses that Latios and Shifu have, like Flying and Fairy, so I like that. Tentacruel also kind of covers that. I don't really like Tentacruel as a mon. Like, I'd rather use Quillfish, but I think Tentacruel has to be there because it's the only removal. You're not going to be clicking Defog with Cleaver. You're not going to be clicking Defog with Latios. Like, that's just not going to happen. And unfortunately, Kilowattrel doesn't get Defog. Kilowattrel would be an awful Defogger anyways, but like, I kind of wish the Gen 9 birds got Defog, because it would add a lot more viability to like Kilowattrel and even like Bombardier and something like that, but they just don't get it. Maybe Float Eternal gets a Defog. Apparently it gets Light Screen. I might have to like double check that at some point, and I might have to update the prep doc. I think I found a couple issues with the prep doc regarding like Ogerpon, because Ogerpon, it gets knockoff. It's not on the current version of the prep doc though, so I have to add it to the current version for people to download. But this is off my version, which is why it's showing that Ogerpon gets it. I don't know why it took me so long to realize it wasn't there, because, well, I guess I think normal Ogerpon gets knockoff, but I didn't put the other 3. Anyways, Ursaluna is also kind of a bait mon. I feel like you click Blood Moon, you click Earth Power, Moonblast, maybe Vacuum Wave. It doesn't really do much, but I feel like when it switches in on something, it takes a lot of damage, and then something else can switch in, maybe take the hit, outspeed, and kill it. Like, that's kind of all Blood Moon does. And sometimes you can get going with Calm Mind. You just have to be really careful with it, I feel. Tentacruel is a huge bait mon. I don't like Tentacruel. Well, I like Tentacruel. I just don't think it's good. Same with like Cleaver. I think Cleaver is like kind of bait sometimes. Kilowattrel doesn't do a lot of damage. Float Eternal does a lot of damage. I think Terra Fairy, Scarf, or Specs with Light of Ruin is gonna ruin a lot of people's day. Fairy is really hard to switch in on in general. So, and the fact that you have Heatran, like the best Fairy resist, really nice for Floet. Next up, we have Egotistical Elekid, and I think now we are halfway through. Yeah, looks like it. And who is messaging me? Orin. Okay. Sorry, Orin, you'll have to wait. So in Elekid's team, we have Spectre, Palafin, Blaziken, Celebi, Terra Celebi, Excadrill, Minior, Mandibuzz, Galarian Weezing, Tyranitar, Goodra, Hisui, and Mega Audino. So when I was rating this team, I originally had it like a little bit higher, but then I kind of realized, oh, the speed tiers are like garbage. Between Spectre and Palafin is not good. And mind you, the speed tiers are basically Jet Punch plus Speed Boost plus Sand. for Drill and Blaziken. So I guess there's like speed tiers, but at the same time they're not like reliable enough. I think Blaziken and Excadrill kind of have like specific prep that people use. I think actually overall like a bulky like a Fizdef water kind of handles these two. But they might break a water for each other. But at that point it's like you probably still have to deal with like fairy or grass or something like that. Which will probably be coming for like Palafin and Tyranitar, so I guess I'm not like super surprised. I think Celebi's a good Terra, Minior's a good Terra. Mandibuzz is my goat for this team. Fits well on sand because of Overcoat, so you're not taking Sand Chip, which is nice. I just think this team is a little bit all over the place, and I think I get it though, because Elekid found the value in having a cheap Blaziken, having a cheap Excadrill. Terra Celebi was really cheap. Terra Minior is really cheap because those mons don't get drafted. I lowered their points like a lot this season, but I did not remember to up their Terra attacks. So that's on me. If Terra Celebi and Terra Minior like destroy everybody, that's my fault, and I'm sorry. Sorry, everybody. Yeah, I like the removal. Spin Excadrill's good. Defog Mandibuzz Weezing really good. I think Blaziken gets defog if you really want to. Maybe Minior. No, Minior doesn't get defog apparently. Yeah, we have decent pivots too with like Mandibuzz, Minior, Celebi, Blaziken, Palafin. I don't think Celebi, Blaziken really run U-turn or Minior, but just having like Mandibuzz as a pivot is fine. So like overall, I think I like the team. It just kind of wishes it had something between Palafin and Spectrier. Not really sure what, but you could probably find something. Goodra's fine as a steal because you also have Excadrill. So Goodra is more of like a dragon that isn't weak to Fairy, and I like that about Goodra. Next up we have Lies of J, with the Deoxys Speed, Cinderace, Roaring Moon, Primarina, Nidoqueen, Serena, Cobalion, Zoroark, Hisui, Gyarados, and Rotom Fan. Now I think about this, like I might have rated it kind of high, but there's some positive to this team that I think people shouldn't overrate. The fact that Cinderace and Roaring Moon have the same speed tier, I think is actually a good thing, because it allows for like Roaring Moon to run like slower sets, or like bulkier sets that isn't like speed tier reliant. So you can like Dragon Dance a little bit slower or bulkier, or you can run like Taunt Roost sets. Like you'd think in situations where like Hydreigon is a good defensive mon, Roaring Moon theoretically could do like almost the same thing, if not a little teeny bit better on the special side. So I kind of appreciate that about Roaring Moon. Deoxys Speed can just opt to not run speed at all. Like this thing outruns like Scarf Chi for like no reason. That's kind of stupid. Cinderace deters hazards like quite a bit with a court change. Like it can just say no you, and now you have to deal with your own hazards. Primarina and Nidoqueen make for like a decent defensive core. Maybe could have done a little bit better than Primarina, because I think Primarina is like a good defensive mon, but at the same time, it gets two-shot by like a lot of physical attacks, so it's not that great in that aspect. And I think Nidoqueen can get kind of scared off with like strong moves, because Nidoqueen doesn't have like recovery, and its stats like they're fine, but they're starting to fall behind a little bit. Serena's just kind of a bait. I don't really know why he picked up Serena, especially so early. I think he could have done a lot better with the grass type, like Decidueye or like Dhelmise. If you're looking for that spinner, because yeah, Serena and Rotom Fan are like your removal. Cinderace is technically a removal. So I don't know. I think you could have done better than Serena. Cobalion's also kind of a bait, especially as your steel type. you don't really want your steel type to not resist fairy. You do have Cinderace, you do have Nidoqueen, so it's not the worst thing in the world that Cobalion's on this team. But I think Cobalion like doesn't really do that much. I like Cobalion, it's just not good. Zoroark is a little bit overrated too, I think. Because sometimes it doesn't seem strong enough to like get KOs, and then it just kind of gets killed first. If you can predict the Zoroark is in, you can just kind of catch it. Even like neutral coverage into what you would suspect would be Zoroark, which is probably going to be Roaring Moon in like most scenarios. Like you can just kind of like click Earthquake, and there goes Zoroark. Yeah, Gyarados is decent. I think Gyarados getting Terra on like flying, really good, or like stab on like Earthquake, or like Power Whip if you want Terra Grass or something. I think Gyarados is awesome, and it's probably gonna get going against quite a few people, which is I think why I placed it high. I think Gyarados is actually one of the better Terra captains that got drafted. Really like Gyarados. Rotom Fan's just kind of there. I think he put Terra on it because he could, not because he needed it. But I mean, you could Terra into like Poison and not have to deal with Ground still, which is nice. It's fine. I don't really have much else to say about this team. Alright, so next up we have Troy. We have the Mega Scissor, Zapdos, Clefable, Ogerpon, Hearthflame, Terrakion, Kingdra, Overqwil, Mamoswine, Pelipper, and Grumpig. I put the GOAT on Overqwil because I love Overqwil. On Rain, I guess I'll talk about the Rain. On Rain, Overqwil just kind of breaks through all the grasses for you anyways, which you also have Scizor and Zapdos for, and Ogerpon to a certain extent. So maybe you don't need Overqwil in this team, but I like Overqwil as a Rainmon just because it helps deal with those grasses in the immediate sense, especially with Rain Up. And Pelipper is actually fine because Pelipper can U-turn, and you get more out of the Rain turns that way. Overqwil and Kingdra can both kind of eat an electric hit for Pelipper if it needs to, and then get off like massive hits. Overqwil, I think its best set is Swords Dance Life Orb. I would have put Terra on Overqwil personally, but I understand why it's on Kingdra. Kingdra does kind of need that like damage boost because its stats are just kind of eh. They did give it Wave Crash though, and I think Wave Crash is cool. Probably don't need like another physical attacker on this team. So like Life Orb, Terra Water, Surf, or like Hydro Pump is probably gonna hit like super hard. So yeah, I like this team. Scizor and Zapdos, plus like Clef, really good like defensive core, or even like offensive pivot. They can do that. Ogerpon kind of also fits in there, and Ogerpon hits really hard. The one thing about this team is that you're gonna have to Scarf Terrakion like every week, or Mamoswine. I don't think Mamoswine fits the best as the ground here, but I mean, if you're gonna have a ground, I guess Mamoswine's fine. He said he would have gotten Mega Swampert if he could have, but he had Mega Scissor. So if Mega Swampert was the ground, that would have been fine as well. But I guess any ground type would have been kind of weird with Rain. So I guess Mamoswine is just one that you pick, and it can Scarf. So I guess I get it. But yeah, they're gonna have to Scarf because Ogerpon can't Scarf, and Ogerpon's the fastest mon on the team. Zapdos is gonna be running like Boots, so if Rain isn't up, and I think Pelipper is kind of easy to bait sometimes, and because you don't have Damp Rock, if you can catch Pelipper and kill it early, then Kingdra and Overqwil just don't have a lot of turns to like do things, and then once that's over, like you just kind of slower than everything, and being slower in Gen 9 is just not good. So it's just one of those teams where, like, if you can stay ahead, it'll probably win. If you fall behind and lose Pelipper, you probably lose. Next up, we have Brundon. This team I might have overrated this a little bit, but I like it. We have the Landorus Therian, Urshifu Rapid Strike, Kyurem, Iron Boulder, Grimmsnarl, Sinistcha, Registeel, Terra Registeel, Terra Pyroar, Xurkitree, Mega Beedrill. I put the goat on Pyroar because I think Pyroar is really underrated. Um, this is, I think, one of the more boring teams that got drafted. Sinistcha and Registeel are just so fucking boring. I'm sorry. Kyurem's kind of boring. Iron Boulder, or no, not Iron Boulder. Grimmsnarl's boring. Even Landers can be kind of boring, but Lando's the goat. Like, everyone knows Lando's the goat. But like, it kind of does. It's just consistent, and I think that's why it's a little bit boring. Um, the team leans a little bit too much physically, I feel. Kyurem, I would say, used to be better special attacker. Like, if it was Gen 8, Kyurem I'd say is a special attacker, but now it's like, it wants to run like Dragon Dance loaded dice sets, and that's physical. And then past that, you have Iron Boulder, which kinda, like, once Iron Boulder's in, it's staying in until it dies. Which sometimes could be like the entire game, and sometimes that might be like 2 turns. Like, you never know with Boulder, I guess. Other than that, like, you got Xurkitree as a special attacker, Pyroar and Sinistcha as special attackers, but they're nowhere near like the best mons on the team. Xurkitree is really slow and kind of frail. Pyroar is just a cheap mon. Like, it's Terra, like, sure, but it's also a little bit weak without Terra. And if you're gonna Terra Pyroar, then you're not Terra Registeel. Sinistcha was banned from Terra, so I think Sinistcha is a little bit overrated. But I fucking hate Sinistcha, so fuck that thing. I just think, like, within these top 5, you should have had like a more pronounced special attacker, I guess. That's kind of it though. Speed tiers are all right. There's a couple between like Boulder and Pyroar I worry about like a little bit, and some teams might not respect Pyroar. I think you should respect Pyroar, but some people might not. So you might have to be dealing with some strong mons within like that one, like 123 down to like 114, something like that, or 115. And there's quite a few mons in there, so I just be a little bit careful. Removal's really bad. Landorus Therian is the only removal. I feel like I've only talked shit about this team, but Registeel is really annoying as a Terra captain, and Lando is just really consistent. Kyurem, Urshifu, like, they're gonna break for each other really well, I think, and we'll just kind of see wins. I guess it depends on coach, but like, this team could just kind of win based on like who breaks for what. Next up, we have my team, Queef Quills. I never went through. I kind of stopped. Oh well, doesn't matter. We have the Queef Quills, Garchomp, Greninja, Rotom Wash, Corviknight, Pheasantipede, Terra Armarouge, Leafeon, Nihiligo, Mega Lopunny, and Bombardier. My team has kind of similar issues to Brundon's team, where there's just no, like, special offense is a little bit lacking, but at least in this situation, Greninja and Rotom Wash are special attackers. They just kind of don't have like a good stat to go with it, so they're kind of reliant on like strong moves, or in Greninja's case, like Protein or Battle Bond. I don't know why Battle Bond isn't listed here. Maybe it should be. Everyone knows that Greninja gets Battle Bond though, so it's fine. Yeah, but Garchomp Spikes pairing with Greninja is really good. Rotom Wash, Corv, Fez make a really good defensive core. Armarouge kind of patches up that special offense with Terra, and also like weak armor, weakness policy. Like, it can get going really fast by doing almost absolutely nothing, which is really cool. Terra Leafeon is decent. I've started to see the light with Leafeon. This mon, like, it's not that bad. It has okay coverage, and with Terra Blast, like, it kind of covers not everything, but it gets like that move, like, oh, I wish Leafeon could do this or whatever that, or just change type and have stab on like something else. Like, now it can just do that. It's pretty fast, pretty offensive. Chlorophyll. I could Sunny Day, and if Leafeon dies, now you have to deal with like Terrifier Specs Armor in the sun. Good luck with that. Um, Past that, we have Nihiligo, Lopunny. Lopunny definitely kind of carries this team a little bit um, with priority, speed tier, um, fake out U-turn, close combat, and just overall having like unresisted stabs. Nihiligo is a decent sweeper if Greninja doesn't do something or if Greninja has to do something else. And then there's Bombardier. And the reason why Bombardier is here is if you look, my knockers are Leafeon, Nihiligo, and Bombardier. So I really needed a mon that could click knockoff that isn't Leafeon. Which is kind of why this team can't rate much higher. This is 4th place. Maybe could have went lower, but I think overall, like, there's a little bit too much consistency here with the top 5. Even as much as I hate Greninja, I just kind of think there's a lot to look out for in this team. And also stuff like Fez, like you kind of have to watch out for those toxic chains. And if I'm U-turning, now I've U-turned into Garchomp or Armorage, and now you have to deal with those two. So just kind of something to think about. Next up we have Yuno, who I've put the GOAT on Celesteela. We have the Dragapult, worst Diancie, Celesteela, Volcarona, Samurott Hisui, Donphan, Toxtricity, Amoonguss, Hitmontop, and Musharna. I put in my notes that I think Amoonguss should have just been Roserade. Very easy fix, I think, and it could allow you some more points if you want another mon to add there, like a normal type. The reason why I say Roserade, and Toxtricity gets T-Spikes too, but having T-Spikes with Pult is really nice, because then you can spam like Specs Hex. Hex is a lot stronger than Shadow Ball, and you get a much larger power boost off Stab, because I think Shadow Ball with Stab is technically weaker than a status Pokemon with Hex. If Hex was like non-stab boosted. I don't know why that makes sense to me math-wise, but like stab boosted Hex like literally is like 200 base power, so yeah. Mega Diancie kind of deters hazards with Magic Bounce. You do have to Mega Evolve to get there, but you also have 2 Rapid Spinners in Donphan and Hitmontop. Defogger, Volcarona, that's whatever. Because you're mostly going to be getting the spikes up with Samurott, and then if they get up hazards, you can just spin with Donphan or Hitmontop, and I think both of them are fine. Hitmontop is a low tier, but it can come to like a lot of games if it wants to. And Terra Hitmontop especially, Hitmontop's just one of those mons where like it can be defensive and annoying, or you could rapid spin and like Technician Terra into like ice and start like triple axling things for like a lot of damage, and it just kind of, it just does a lot of damage. Kind of have to watch out for that. I like Celesteela as like a Tautomized Meteor Beam mon, or just defensive with like Leech Seed Heavy Slam. Gets a lot of coverage, super annoying. Samurott's a really good Scarfer. Toxtricity's a really good Scarfer, like Shift Gear plus like Throat Spray Boom Burst Terra Normal. Hits really hard. I've never seen Musharna before in my life. I'm interested to see what Musharna does. I did put it at 1 point because I've never seen it drafted. I'm like, why isn't it just 1 point? So, yeah, there we go. In 3rd place, we have the Danley with the Sneasler, Chi-Yu, Rillaboom, Empoleon, Zygarde, Hatterene, Terra Vikavolt, Mega Aerodactyl, Terra Maushold, Cryogonal, and Pythagoras. I think we're doing good on time. I got like 24 minutes. Cool. Terra Vikavolt is just his GOAT. I put the GOAT on Zygarde because I used Zygarde like last season. That wasn't a Little Cup, so I have to put my GOAT on him. However, I do like Vikavolt. I do like Rillaboom, and I'm using Sneasler and Chi-Yu currently in SPS. He even messaged me. He was like, so I'm going to copy your team a little bit. I'm like, go ahead. And I think I told him I recommended Rillaboom over like Tapu Lele on this team because Rillaboom can cover for those grounds that Sneasler and Chi-Yu don't want to deal with, and it offers you a U-turn pivot into Sneasler so you can activate Grassy Seed, which is kind of part of the reason why I haven't really run like Unburdened Sneasler in SPS, because Lele doesn't pivot unless I'm dying. um, and I think Sneasler overall, like I like Sneasler as a pivot as well with Poison Touch. It's really fun. Um, Reason I couldn't place this team like number one because I almost put it higher than 3. Sneasler is just not. It's like not the round 1 pick that I would like to see, because I've seen firsthand that Sneasler, like, sometimes if it's your best Mon, like, it doesn't perform super well. And that's just how it is with a couple Mons. Like, you just don't want to see Sneasler in, like, that top slot. Chi-Yu's kind of fallen off a little bit because I think people know how to, like, prep for it now. But it's still really strong. Rillaboom offers a lot of support for them, though. And Rillaboom itself can hit really hard. Zygarde waiting until round 5 is really good for the Danley, because it's like you have to deal with these top 4 to find a way to break Empoleon, and then Zygarde is like, arrows, arrows, arrows. Hatterene can deter hazards, as well as like Mousehold, and Empoleon can like defog or Magic Bounce, tidy up. Cryogonal's there as well. So decent removal. Vikavolt offers some good special offense outside of Chi-Yu and Hatterene and Empoleon. So just a lot of like offensive variety here. Everything here hits super hard, except for like bottom 2, but whatever. Mousehold's kind of a bait. You could tear normal and like kill something, but if you run into a helmet and you don't hit them, if you don't kill them in 6 hits, then Mousehold's dead. Aerodactyl is kind of like similar if you're like Tough Claws hitting things. Helmet on that Sneasler too, probably. Helmet on the Rillaboom, maybe. Maybe that's just like I don't know, like a flavor gripe I have with physical attackers with this team specifically. Because I'm sure other teams probably have like similar issues. Like, I don't know, like Garchomp's cooking Earthquake. Lopunny always runs into Helmet. I don't know, Earthquake. Probably gonna be like Punching Glove on this. I don't know. Maybe this just gripe of the week. So I guess moving on, we have Sacred Ash with the Tapu Koko, Iron Bundle, Iron Moth, Hawlucha, Tinkaton, Quaquaval, Terra Rhyperior, Iron Leaves, Mega Absol, Komala, and Salamence. Now, I'll say like these mons over here are a little bit all over the place, but I think on this team it's fine, because you have like the terrain core, and these mons function pretty well outside of terrain. Hawlucha, if you're trying to unburden sweep, only needs 1 turn of terrain to activate its seed, and then it can sweep. So like it doesn't really need terrain up constantly. So that's really cool. You have Tinkaton supporting things. Quaquaval can sweep as well. One of the gripes I had was that Quaquaval like doesn't need to be on this team. Like, you have Hawlucha as a fighting type, so if you just wanted like a bulkier water, that would have been fine. Like, Blastoise is gone at this point, and you already had a poison, so you didn't want like Tentacruel. So I guess Quaquaval is fine if you're just trying to use it as like a spinner and then like a pivot. But it can also sweep. You don't really need it to sweep because you have everything else here that can sweep. Terra Rhyperior is good with like Rock Polish. It does need to run like Jolly Nature if you're trying to outspeed everything, but I think that's fine. Iron Leaves I think is a bait. If you're gonna like Swords Dance with it, it's gonna die to like a straight U-turn. I've seen it like so many times, which is unfortunate. I like Iron Leaves though. I just think you could do better. Grass Psychic is just a really weird typing to work with, but it's just kind of there. Bundle and Moth are physical, or they're special attackers, so having a physical attacker that goes into terrain is fine. So that's okay. Maybe could have gotten away with like Iron Boulder instead. But if you wanted Rhyperior, then I understand. Mega Absol, I think, is very underrated. It's really strong. It's faster than a lot of things. It is frail, but I think overall, like, it's so strong that, like, it just kind of kills things, I would think. Knockoff, play rough, coverage. It has some special coverage, too. I don't really have any problems with Mega Absol. And it was cheap. Kamal's like, whatever. And then Salamence is like, it was like 10 points, so I don't really have a gripe with it. I think Salamence is fine as like a Moxie sweeper. You can run like Wish Passing with it as well. Probably don't need Salamence on this team. Like, there's a lot of Mons, like, you just don't need them on this team. But it's fine. Like, there's just a lot of sweepers on this team. Maybe not a lot of pivots, which is not what I'm used to. I'm not used to seeing that from Sacred Ash, like, just not seeing, like, pivots everywhere. But I put this team number 2 because I think this is probably one of the scariest teams to prep for. Like, everything here just hits so hard. Like, Tinkaton is, like, the weakest mon here, and that thing has, like, 2 Iron Heads in one move. Yeah. Lastly, we have Jamesy. I put this team at number 1. We have the Meowscarada, Iron Treads, Tapu Fini, Thundurus, Therian, Lycanroc, Dusk, Victini, Buzzwole, Meloetta, and Muck. This is, I think, the best that a team is condensed overall. You have 9 Mons here. And Muck is, but Muck has like its matchups. But like, you just kind of cover everything here. You have good removal with Treads and Fini. Thundurus could, like, if you want to. Meloetta is one of the better Terras that I think got drafted. You have a good defensive core with Buzzwole, Treads, Fini. You have a good pivot core with Meowscarada, Thundurus, Lycanroc, or not Lycanroc, like Victini. Lycanroc adds like priority that this team kind of needs. Like, it's more of an offensive. This team maybe doesn't have a lot of longevity, but it hits really hard. Fini can heal up with like Draining Kiss. Buzzwole has Roost. So, like, if you're trying to wall things defensively, like, you can kind of sit in with these two. I like it. Thundurus and Meowscarada are the... Oh, no, yeah, Buzzwole for, like, ground resist. Buzzwole also kind of acts as a rock resist. Treads is the only actual rock resist, but Buzzwole can handle, like, every rock move. And on the special side, I'd say Meloetta probably can, too, as well. And Meowscarada just kind of outspeeds and threatens to destroy a lot of grounds and rocks anyways, so fine. I couldn't really say anything bad about this team. Like, this might not be the best team that was drafted, but I also think it is because this is the team that I found the least amount of bad things to say about. And I think, like, Meloetta is super underrated. And, like, sure, it's a 9-mon team, but you have a lot of options and set variety. You can get up Rocks and Steel Beam with Treads, or you can run, like, Helmet Fini, or you can run Calm Mind, Draining Kiss. You can run, like, Specs Plot, Agility Thundurus, Choice Band Meowscarada, or you can run, like, Spikes. Lycanroc doesn't have a lot of set variety. It has more like item variety if you need that. Victini has a lot of sets, physical or special. It can choice band, it can choice scarf, it can choice specs, it can boots. Buzzwole, you can like scarf Buzzwole as well. Meloetta, you can Relic Song and be like a big physical attacker, or you can remain on the special side and just kind of wall things. Muck, I believe, gets like Shadow Sneak, so you can like Shadow Sneak Poison Touch things, and yeah. Awesome team. So yeah, overall, good. I'll go through them one more time. We have the 16th, we have the Seattle Lucarios, coached by LuTD. In 15th, we have the Zoint Zangooses, coached by Cryptix. In 14th, we have the Palmot Pushovers, coached by Toad8. In 13th, we have the Saffron Psyshockers, coached by Shine. In 12th, we have the Flavortown Farfetch, coached by Hysterically, or Hysterically. I don't fucking know. Then we have the Kono Dio Weevils, coached by Sagex at 11. Wait, 16, 15, 14. Yeah, 11. At 10th, we have the Miami Mimikyu, coached by John Paul Joestar. At 9th, we have the Lake Erie Elekkids, coached by Egotistical Elekid. In 8th, we have the Los Angeles Nido-Kings, coached by Elias J. In... Did I say 18th? In 8th. In 7th, we have the Absolutes, coached by Troy. In 6th, we have the Prague Pyroars, coached by Brundon. In 5th, we have the Queef Quills, coached by me, Whacker. In 4th, we have Do You Accept, coached by Yuno. In 3rd, we have the Anaheim Psyducks, coached by DeDanley. At 2nd, we have the Indianapolis Bolts, coached by Sacred Ash. In 2nd. And 1st place, we have the All Creamy Pie, coached by Jamesy at 1st. Yeah, there you go. I only went through those slides again because I didn't put the team names here, but yeah, these are the rankings just by name. And yeah, you guys did a really good job. I hope this will be a fun season. If I had like a co-host, I'd probably go through like I go through and maybe I'll just do it on my own. I have like 12 minutes. Who do I think the kill leaders will be on every team? I think the kill leader on this team is going to be Zarquai. This team... See, Cryptix is really new to draft, so I don't know if he's just going to use Zangoose every week. I'm going to say Zangoose. I think he's going to bring it like every week. Just because. On this team, I think the kill leader will probably be... I'm going to go out the women's sim. It's going to be like Terra Volcanion, I think, actually. Shine's team, the kill leader, I think it's easy. It's going to be Mecha Gallade. On Heister's team, I think the kill leader will be... who am I feeling? I think unironically probably Floatzel. On Sagex's team, kill leader's probably... I think Shaman Sky. John Paul's team, I think the kill leader will be... I think Float Eternal, honestly. I don't know. I guess it depends if he's comfortable using it like every week. It has that potential, but... no, I'm gonna lock in Float. Fuck it. On Elekid's team, I'm going to lock in... I think I'm actually going to lock in Terra Celebi on this team. On Joey's team, I think it'll be Cinderace. Or no, I'm based. I'm gonna pick Gyarados. Gyarados. On Troy's team, kill leader. Is this where I pick the weird option and pick Clefable here? I don't know. Does Clefable get kills? Maybe. No, I see like the anti-rain synergy with Ogerpon. I'm gonna pick Ogerpon here. On Brundon's team, I think probably Kyurem. On my team, I think it's gonna be a Mega Lopunny on this team. Yuno's team, I think it'll be Samurott. The Danley's team, I think will be... I think it'll be Vikavolt, probably. On Sacred Ash's team, this is a hard team to pick. Because everything here has so much kill potential. Probably Bundle. On Jamesy's team, I think it'll be Thundurus. Yeah. And who would I have to pick for kill leader overall? I would say... Overall kill leader. Damn, I don't know. There's always like some Weirdomon on the top. Where was the Weirdomon I picked? Floatzel? I can see Floatzel winning this season. Yeah, that's gonna be my picks. And yeah, if you guys have any comments to leave, Feel free to leave a comment. Feel free to reach out to me if you want to make like transactions. I'll try to help the best I can. I think you guys mostly drafted pretty well. Like, I wouldn't change like too much on most of these teams, and most of the changes are like whatever. But I know every time I release PRs, there's like 3 people that are like, I'm gonna make transactions based off what he said now. Like, I'm half expecting Yuno to drop a Moondisc for Roserade. That was like the big one. I was like, oh, like really easy change. Like, that was the easiest change I could make this whole time. Some of these are like, I don't even know like how to change these. Like, I think on my team too, like Nihiligo and Leafeon, like this should be Tangrowth or like Decidueye plus like Mismagius Terra or something, but no. Yeah, I will see you guys then. Thanks for watching.